London's position as the number one financial centre is faltering. Well, critics doubt, and why there are doubts about this, and why fintechs are proving the opposite. At the end of March, the alarm bells went off in the financial centre of London. The occasion was the publication of a new report by the city administration. According to the new data, London has lost its sole lead as the world's leading financial centre, now tied for the lead with New York City. For the first time ever, the British capital is no longer the clear leader in this ranking. Even before Brexit, financial experts had warned that London could lose its place at the top financial centre in the world because banks and other companies would relocate to mainland Europe after leaving the EU. However, fears that up to 12,500 jobs could be lost in the financial sector have not come true. And London as a financial centre is still doing good business. But there was Brexit, and the London financial centre lost workers, but less than expected. According to the analysis by EY, around 7,000 financial jobs had migrated from London to the EU by mid-22. However, the UK banking and finance industry still employs more than 1.2 million workers. Company service businesses also continue to enjoy relative strength. In 2022, the British financial and business services sector generated a trade surplus of £64 billion. That's the largest of any country. UK Finance, an umbrella organisation for the country's banking and finance industry, therefore sees no reason to point to weaknesses. They say, the United Kingdom remains a leading global banking and finance sector. The sector is a major exporter for the UK and one of the main sources of tax revenue for the government. That was said by UK finance spokesman Tom Reynolds. He points to advantages that would continue to exist after Brexit. This includes, for example, a respected legal and regulatory environment, contractual security, and trust in public institutions, although I doubt the latter. The talent pool is also reason for more and more young financial companies, so-called fintechs, to come to London and to Great Britain. London attracted more fintech venture capital last year than any other city in the world, according to the new data. A total of $9.7 billion flowed to young local companies that want to change the financial sector with their business models. London not only attracted more investment than New York and the San Francisco Bay Area last year, but also 42% of all European fintech financing, according to the business promoters of London and Partners. However, venture capital investments fell worldwide, including in Great Britain, in 2022. Many Britons are open to new financial services if they can still afford them. And Laura Citron, managing director of London and Partners, still sees the British metropolis strengthened. She says, we are seeing strong interest from international companies looking to set up and grow their fintech businesses in London. Unlike many other locations in the world, London would offer fintechs access to one of the world's leading financial centers and the largest tech ecosystem in Europe. And this combination would be a recipe for innovation. Another factor is the openness of the British to new technology. The United Kingdom has a digitally savvy customer base with a high level of acceptance of fintech services, and this makes London an ideal testing ground for fintechs to introduce new products. That is the opinion of Citron as well. In London, this lesser skepticism about new things can be pinned down to a banal thing like cash. While the Germans like to have a nest egg in their pocket, the British confidently pay for everything by card or app, whether it's a coffee to go, a haircut, or a theater ticket. And fintech founder Sébastien Payet had a larger branch in London with his company Early Metrics for a long time. The fintech is now based in Paris with only a few employees holding the fort in Great Britain. However, London is still the place to be when it comes to international growth, he thinks. He says, it's easier from here to set up business in Asia, the Middle East, or the USA. You can make contacts very quickly. Early Metrics collects data and information on startups that are still under construction and need initial financing. The information processed from this should help investors to make decisions. Among other things, Early Metrics has developed a point system and also predictions about possible bankruptcy or possible exit options. The company names banks such as Barclays, BNP Paribas, and HSBC as customers. In terms of staff, London is above all more flexible in his view. You can change your job overnight, he says, and young people in particular are easier to recruit and would accept lower starting salaries, which would then increase faster than in Germany, for example. And with a view to the business idea, people are much more interested in the solutions, he thinks. It doesn't matter whether you come from Great Britain or speak the language. Whoever has the best idea gets the job, says Pallier. And he says he wants to grow more strongly in London in the future. Germany's largest money house, Deutsche Bank, continues to see London as an important financial center as well. A spokesman refers to the high density of banks, financial service providers, and service providers for the financial industry at the location. In addition, there are specialists, a broad knowledge of the financial market, close international ties, and highly developed specialized jurisdiction. But Deutsche Bank, for which 7,500 employees work in Great Britain, also withdrew tasks after Brexit. Deutsche Bank has relocated account managers for Italian companies to Italy. They do not necessarily have to work from London, said the spokesman. But they still don't want to break away from London. After all, the first European branch of Deutsche Bank opened there 150 years ago. Years after leaving the EU, a clear consensus has emerged among economists, though, as the Financial Times wrote at the end of November. Brexit has significantly worsened the country's economic performance. The banks are doing good, but the rest? Households have become poorer, investments are stagnating, and trade barriers have become an issue for the largest sales market, the EU, and caused the movement of goods to collapse by an estimated 10 to 15%. The OBR estimates that the British economy will shrink by 4% overall as a result of Brexit. The depreciation of the currency contributes to this, among other things. The value of the pound has fallen about 10% since the EU referendum in June 2016, and this has made imports more expensive and fueled inflation. But wages have not increased that much as a result. The think tank Resolution Foundation estimates that Brexit has pushed wages down by almost 2% after adjusting for inflation. In other words, Brexit is contributing to the deep cost of living crisis Brits are currently grappling with. And trade between the UK and the EU has also plummeted. Export companies like that of, for example, I used them in another video, cheesemaker Simons Burrell, now have to deal with additional costs and endless paperwork. And this has led many to stop trading with EU countries altogether. In the summer, the think tank Centre for European Reform published a study that calculated that Britain's trade volume could be almost 14% higher if the country were still part of the EU. The public has certainly noticed that Brexit is not going according to plan. A survey in November showed that 56% of Britons now consider it a mistake, and this number is growing. And this is more than ever before, and the country is suffering from a collective Brexit hangover. Even among those who voted to leave in 2016, many have now become anti-Brexit. Nonetheless, there are no signs that the government under Rishi Sunak is planning a rapprochement with the EU in order to limit the damage caused by Brexit. Quite on the contrary. Instead, the government is stubbornly clinging to the belief that Brexit could somehow turn out really great. I want something from what they are taking. When rumors circulated a few months ago that the government was trying to restart relations with the EU based on the Swiss model, Downing Street immediately denied it. Under no circumstances would that be done, and they were right there. The EU wouldn't do that. An approach in which Great Britain would have to adopt regulations and standards from the EU is out of the question for this government. I know that Brexit can bring enormous benefits to the country, said Sunak, without, of course, going into detail about what these benefits are. The stubbornness is also due to the fact that it's considered good manners among the hardcore of the Tories and the right-wing conservative press to celebrate Brexit. Both groups are extremely influential still. And so it's hardly to be expected that a Brexit reversal will come under Rishi Sunak, no matter how great the damage becomes. And what I said in the first part of the video about the financial market is not the end of Brexit either. There are still transitional periods for the financial services sector, so we have not reached Brexit there either. And so we will have to wait a few years to see what really happens there. I can only tell you what happened up to now. But Brexit is not done for the financial market in Britain either. And if you're interested in more videos about Brexit or UK politics, the next video is here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.